it's Justine, and the Apple event just ended, and I'm so hyped up about the iPad Pros that, oh my goodness, I was freaking out at my desk. I probably should have filmed. I did film this clip whenever I heard that the new iPad Pro will have USB-C and it will charge your iPhone.
We now support charging out over USB-C, so you can even charge your iPhone when you're on the go.
Anyway, I just wanted to go through a little recap of some of the things that they announced today. 3 of the main things that they highlighted was the new Mac Mini, the new MacBook Air, and of course the iPad Pros. Angela also announced 60 new sessions at Apple retail stores, which I was really excited about because Zach King has a session. So they co-create sessions with people, and I'm such a huge fan of his. I used to love all of his Vines that he would post, and now since Vine is no longer a thing, I love all of the things that he posts on YouTube and all of the things on Twitter. So congratulations, Zach. I'm so excited. I will definitely be taking one of those sessions. Now let's talk about some of the things that they covered in the keynote. First up, we're gonna chat about the MacBook Air because I remember the time that Steve Jobs pulled that first MacBook Air out of that envelope, and it was shocking.
Today, we're introducing a third kind of notebook called the MacBook Air.
One of the smallest laptops that Apple had ever created up until that point. So for me, I was like, this is exciting. Now, it was exciting, but for somebody who does video editing and very processor intensive things, this laptop did not quite deliver. For what it was, I did use it a lot for email, and I was able to edit very small files, but even then, it just didn't have enough power to be able to do the things that I really needed it to do. So here they are, they come in the 3 colors. You have the silver, the rose gold, and of course, the space gray. It has an all-new Retina screen with 4 times the resolution as the previous Air. During the keynote, when Tim said something about like, this is something that everyone has always wanted, I tweeted, a touchscreen MacBook? And then 2 seconds later, he said, a Retina display! And I tweeted, oh. This is definitely something that I think was needed on the MacBook Airs because when you're using the Retina displays and then you go back to using something that isn't a Retina, it's extremely hard for your eyes to adjust. So I'm sure this display looks amazing and I can't wait to get a chance to check it out. It has an all-new 8th gen dual-core CPU, 16 gigs of RAM, 1.5 terabyte solid-state drive, and these drives are 60% faster than the previous versions. Another huge upgrade to the MacBook Air is the Touch ID. It still has the FaceTime camera at the top. They did update the keyboard and the trackpad, so it does have the butterfly keyboard and the Force Touch trackpad. They also gave the speakers an update, so they're 25% louder, which is good because I do feel like the MacBook Air, if I recall, I haven't used them in a really long time. The speakers definitely weren't as loud as some of the MacBooks. It's a quarter-pound lighter than the previous MacBook Air, so this thing weighs in at 2.75 pounds. The prices start at $11.99, and one of the huge things that they seem to stress during this entire Apple keynote is their MacBooks, their Mac Minis, and the iPads are all recyclable aluminum. So I felt like that got some of the loudest cheers in the audience. And I think it's really great because there are so many products that we're using, so just to know that you're using something that has been recycled is a pretty cool thing. Now let's move on to the Mac Mini. It is an all-new space gray color. This thing kind of just looks like a big Apple TV sort of, but with the space gray finish. I haven't used a Mac Mini in a really long time. I personally probably won't be using a Mac Mini, but they do look incredible. And after they showed this server farm photo, I had a lot of ideas of things that I wanted to do. Do I need a Mac Mini farm? I don't know, maybe. Do you? Realistically, I probably won't be getting a Mac Mini as something that I will use every day because I do have an iMac Pro and my MacBook Pro that I edit and do most of my work on. But this Mac Mini upgrade was a huge upgrade from the previous one. Starting at 4 cores, you can go all the way up to 6. With 60% faster graphics, that's 5 times faster than before, and you can upgrade up to 64 gigs of RAM and a solid-state drive up to 2 terabytes. One of the things that Apple is known for is removing ports, but they did not do that with the Mac Mini. It has 4 Thunderbolt 3 USB-C ports, HDMI, 2 USB-A ports, 10 gigabit Ethernet port, all available starting November 7th. The starting price for one of the Mac Minis is $799, and that'll get you 8 gigs of RAM, a 3.6 gigahertz quad-core processor with 128 gigs of storage. So the most expensive Mac Mini, let's spec this out. 3.2 gigahertz, 6 core. We would like the 64 gigs of RAM, 2 terabytes solid state storage. Of course, we're going to upgrade our 10 gigabit Ethernet port. And I guess we don't need Final Cut or Logic. So let's add this to our bag. That gives us a total of $4,199. Well, we might as well add Apple Care on. I think that the Mac Minis are great. I think that this is a perfect thing for a lot of people. And there are so many different use cases. It's so small, it's so compact, and I've been a really big fan of the Mac Minis since the beginning. I mean, when they first announced these things, so this is kind of crazy. I did actually get one. There were all of these giveaways that they used to do on MySpace, and I managed to win one in some giveaway. We don't have to go there. That's for another day. But I think I was in college, and I was so excited because it was like, yes, a free Mac Mini, my life is complete. So that's Mac Mini. Now let's talk about the iPad Pro. Wow, this thing, it looks beautiful. And I'm gonna be completely honest with you, I do have one of the first gen iPad Pros and I don't really use it that often. I use my phone, I use my MacBook, and if I'm not using one of those, I'm on my desktop iMac Pro. But it really is my dream to just have one device. If I just had one device that could do everything, that would be so incredible, especially for traveling. And I feel like the iPad Pro is getting closer and closer to that, especially with all kinds of new editing software that's coming out. I just wish that Final Cut or iMovie would have an upgraded app on the iPhone. Like, it doesn't make sense, like you guys have the resources to make the most perfect editing app on your iPhone and the iPad, and yet Adobe went and did it. You've got the resources. You've already got Final Cut. You have iMovie on here. Like, there's so many things that you guys could be doing that it makes me just want to take this desk and push it over, knowing that it's possible. I just want to have that seamless solution to be able to have the capabilities of things that I can do on Final Cut or iMovie on my phone. Like vertical video editing, you'd think that would be a no-brainer. Thankfully, Adobe Rush, I've actually been a really huge fan of it. I don't edit in Premiere, I do edit everything in Final Cut, so I was a little bit hesitant to check it out, but the Adobe Rush app is really good. And after I tweeted about that, a lot of you guys suggested that I check out LumaFusion, and I still haven't actually checked it out, so that is on my to-do list. If you have used LumaFusion, let me know what you guys think of it, or if you've used Adobe Rush, or if there are any other features that you wish that there were video editing capabilities built into the phone. Like, I feel like a lot of these things could be built right into the camera app. That is just a future wish, and I'm hoping that that is something that they are working on, because if they are, you will see me doing, well, maybe I'll dance at the Apple Store again to celebrate. iPad Pro, they also announced an Apple Pencil 2. It has gesture control, and I also got mine engraved. And again, I'm not an illustrator. I don't really do that many things on the iPad that would require the Apple Pencil. They also showed a full version of the new Adobe app for iPad, and it looks extremely powerful, which I'm also excited about. That's why I also tweeted that we're getting closer and closer to having an iPad be something that you can travel with, and that can be your main device. So here it is. This is, it is so beautiful. So it has rounded corners on the display, and they said that they're using some of the same technologies that they used in the iPhone XR with the Liquid Retina display. A 12.9-inch display, it's 5.9 millimeters thick, and this is 15% thinner than the previous iPad Pro, which was 6.9 inches. It also has Face ID, which means no home button. It also has no headphone jack, which I honestly don't care. Like, if you still think that you need a headphone jack, I don't know, that's not my problem, that's your problem, because I have completely done away with any corded headphones. The only time that I need to use a corded headphone is when I'm making videos like this and I have to monitor audio. So that's really it. There is a slight bit of lag though. I will say that is extremely upsetting sometimes when I am editing, but a lot of my editing, I've sort of changed the way that I edit. I edit mostly looking at waveforms, but even when I was on my desktop, I feel like that's how you sort of should edit. Yes, you can edit to the sound that you hear, but even then I feel like you're not gonna get the precise edits that you need. Feel free to fight about it in the comments. Headphone jack or no headphone jack? Again, it's either way, it doesn't really affect me, so I will keep on living my life headphone jack free. It has an 8-core CPU plus 7-core GPU, and this is faster than 92% of all portable PCs that were sold in the past 12 months. I thought that was kind of an interesting statistic. They also made a dig at Xbox. I was like, ooh, burn. They were talking about how fast the graphics processor is in the iPad compared to the Xbox. Those are fighting words. The iPad Pro also has USB-C, and it has charging out, so you can charge your iPhone using your iPad. The iPad Pencil also magnetically attached to the top of your iPad, which sounds like something that may have seen or heard before. So So it's no secret that I love Apple so much, but I'm also a really big fan of all of the Surface products by Microsoft. And the one good thing though about the Apple Pencil is that it will magnetically charge when it is attached to your iPad. So that is something that is different than some of the Surfaces. It'll also automatically pair. I even got the free engraving on my Apple Pencil. I also was joking on Twitter about getting the free engraving because the new iPad Pro, if you do spec it out all the way to the max, it is $1,899. That's with cell. That is the 1 terabyte model, and that's the 12.9 inch display. But the cheapest iPad Pro that you can get on the 12.9 inch model is the 64 gig, and you can get that with Wi-Fi for $999. The 11 inch, the most expensive one, if you spec that one out to the 1 terabyte with the cell, $1699. But the cheapest new iPad Pro that you can get is the 11 inch, and it's the 64 gig with Wi-Fi, and that's $799. It is kind of crazy to think that you can spec this thing out to be 1 terabyte, and that costs you almost as much as a laptop. Now, is it worth it for you? I don't know. I don't know you. I just don't think that you're gonna need a terabyte of storage. But did I get the terabyte of storage? Yes, because I'm absolutely crazy. And I've completely accepted that. To most girls, that's like a purse or a handbag or some shoes. But here I am, I'm not even wearing shoes. You can connect your iPad Pro to a 5K display, so if you do want to use this using sort of a desktop experience, that is something that you can do. They also showed these new smart keyboard folios. So it has a full-size keyboard, and it can also double as a screen protector. One of the things that they showed too is that you can use it in 2 different viewing angles. So if you're sitting down on your lap, you can move it slightly forward, or if you're sitting at your desk, you can move it back a little. I am excited to see the new iPad Pro. Even when I saw it first on the screen during the keynote, when they did that swipe of the edges and just kind of rounded everything, like I actually had an audible gasp. I checked my heart rate, I was like, yep, that's a heart rate spike. So those are some of the highlights today from the Apple event. I'm really excited to get my hands on these things. I wish that I was there at the event to be able to see them in person, but unfortunately I could not make it, so I am here patiently waiting. I will see you guys in my next video. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you do so, and be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and hit the bell so you'll be notified when I post new videos. Okay, YouTuber mandatory spiel is over. End of video. See you later.